The alarm screamed across the bridge of the Indomitable. Red lights flashed everywhere. Commander Taiwan gripped his chair as he stared at the massive screen before him. Dozens of alien ships floated in space above Earth. They were huge, dark, and covered in strange symbols that glowed purple in the darkness. "How many ships?" Taiwan asked. His voice was calm even though his heart was racing. 47, sir," Lieutenant Hana said from her station. She was young but smart. Her fingers moved quickly over her controls. They appeared out of nowhere. No warning at all. Taiwan stood up and walked closer to the main screen. The alien ships looked like nothing humanity had ever built. They were organic, almost alive. Parts of them seemed to breathe and pulse with light. "Have they attacked anyone?" he asked. "No, sir. They are just waiting," Corporal Jiho answered. He was the security officer and his hand never left his weapon. "But our defenses are ready." Taiwan knew Earth's defenses were not enough. These aliens were clearly more advanced. If they wanted to destroy humanity, they probably could. But why were they just floating there? What did they want? "Sir, we are receiving a transmission," Hana said suddenly. She looked surprised. "It is not an attack warning." "They want to talk? Talk?" Taiwan repeated. He had expected threats or demands. "What do they say?" Hana pressed a button and a voice filled the bridge. It was translated into human language, but the tone was strange. Deep and powerful. "We are the Velrathi Empire. We request a meeting with Earth's leaders. We come not as enemies, but as those who seek understanding." The bridge went silent. Everyone looked at Taiwan. He knew this decision could change everything. Trust them or fight them. Both choices could lead to disaster. "Send a response," Taiwan said finally. "Tell them we will meet. But it will be on a neutral station and they will follow our security rules." "Yes, sir," Hana said and began typing. 3 days later, Taiwan found himself on Space Station Unity, a diplomatic platform that floated between Earth and the Moon. Admiral Sung Min had chosen him to represent humanity. It was an honor, but also terrifying. Taiwan had fought in many battles, but he had never negotiated with aliens before. Jiho stood beside him in the meeting room. The room was simple with white walls and a large table in the center. Windows showed the stars outside. Earth looked small and fragile in the distance. "Do you think they can be trusted?" Jiho whispered. "I do not know," Taiwan admitted, "but we have to try." The doors on the opposite side of the room opened. Taiwan felt his muscles tense. 3 figures walked in, but they did not look like the monsters from old Earth movies. They were tall and wore armor that seemed to be made of dark metal and crystal. Their faces were hidden behind helmets. The figure in the center was clearly the leader. She was taller than the others and her armor was more decorated. Symbols glowed on her chest piece. When she moved, it was with complete confidence. "I am Queen Nara of the Velrathi Empire," the figure said. Her voice came through a translator device. It sounded strong and royal. "I speak for my people." Taiwan stood straight. "I am Commander Taiwan of United Earth. I speak for humanity." They sat down on opposite sides of the table. The Queen's 2 guards stood behind her. Jiho stood behind Taiwan. "Why have you come to Earth?" Taiwan asked directly. "We seek allies," Queen Nara said. "Not subjects. Not slaves, allies." "Allies against what?" Taiwan asked. Before the Queen could answer, an explosion rocked the station. The lights went out for a second, then emergency power turned on. Red alarms started blaring. "Security breach," a voice yelled over the speakers. "Sabotage in the meeting room sector." Jiho pulled out his weapon. The Queen's guards did the same. Everyone looked at each other with suspicion. "It was not us," one of the Velrathi guards shouted. "Seal the room," Taiwan ordered. Metal doors slammed shut on all sides. They were trapped, but at least they were safe from whoever was attacking. Smoke started filling the room. Something had broken in the ventilation system. The Queen moved quickly, but Taiwan saw her stumble. Her helmet was damaged. Cracks ran across its surface and purple liquid leaked from the seams. "My helmet is compromised," the Queen said. Her voice sounded different now, more strained. "I cannot breathe your air safely with it broken." "Remove it," Taiwan said quickly. "Our air is safe." "The station is Earth standard." The Queen hesitated. Taiwan realized that removing her helmet might be significant for her people. Maybe it was against their customs. But she had no choice. Her hands reached up to her helmet. There was a hissing sound as seals released. Slowly she lifted it off her head. Taiwan's breath stopped. He had expected something alien, Something scary, or at least very different. But the face before him made his heart skip. The queen had features that were almost human, but more beautiful than any person he had ever seen. Her skin was silver-tinted and seemed to glow softly in the emergency lights. Her eyes were large and colored like amber, with tiny flecks of gold. Her hair was long and dark, but strands of it glowed with a soft blue light, moving as if they were alive. But it was not just her appearance. It was her expression. Without the helmet, Taewon could see her eyes fully. They were not the eyes of a conqueror or a cold alien queen. They showed fear, yes, but also something else: loneliness, burden, hope. Their eyes met across the table. For a moment, the alarms and smoke faded away. Taewon felt something he had not felt in years, not since he lost his family. A connection, a pull toward another person that went beyond logic or reason. The queen's lips parted slightly. She seemed just as surprised as he was. Her amber eyes were wide, searching his face. "You are," she started to say, but then coughed. The smoke was getting thicker. Taewon snapped back to reality. "We need to get out of here. Jiho, can you open the emergency exit?" Jiho ran to the wall and pulled open a panel. "Yes, sir. The maintenance tunnels are still clear." "Then we go together," Taewon said, looking at the queen. "Your guards and mine. We escape together or we die together." The queen studied him for a long moment. Then she nodded. "Agreed." As they moved toward the emergency exit, Taewon could not stop stealing glances at her. And every time he looked, he found her looking back at him. Something had changed in that room, something that neither of them expected. The meeting was supposed to be about war or peace between their species. But now it was about something much more personal, much more dangerous. Taewon had fallen for an alien queen, and from the way she looked at him, he suspected she felt the same way. The maintenance tunnels were dark and narrow. Taewon led the way with a flashlight while Jiho covered the rear. Queen Nara walked close behind him, her guards protecting her sides. The emergency lights cast strange shadows on the metal walls. "Who would attack us?" one of the Velrathi guards asked. His name was difficult to pronounce, so Taewon just thought of him as the tall one. "Someone who wants our people to fight," Taewon said. "Someone who fears peace more than war." They heard footsteps behind them. Jiho raised his weapon. "Someone is following us." They moved faster through the tunnels. The station shook again. Another explosion, this time closer. Dust fell from the ceiling. "This way," Taewon said, taking a turn. But they hit a dead end. A locked door blocked their path. "I can open it," Queen Nara said. She stepped forward and placed her hand on a panel next to the door. Her palm glowed with soft light and the door clicked open. "Velrathi technology. We helped build parts of this station years ago." "You have been to Earth before?" Taewon asked, surprised. "We have watched your people for a long time," Nara admitted. "Studying. Learning your languages. Your cultures." They entered a small storage room and locked the door behind them. For a moment, they were safe. Taewon sat down on a supply crate, breathing hard. Nara sat across from him. Her guards and Jiho checked the other doors. Without her helmet, Nara looked more vulnerable, more real. Taewon found it hard not to stare at her. "Why have you really come to Earth?" he asked quietly. "Please tell me the truth." Nara looked at her hands. The glow from her skin was fading, making her look tired. "My people are running." "We are refugees, Commander, not conquerors." "Running from what?" "From the Scourge," she said. The word sounded terrible even in translation. "They are an ancient enemy. They consume entire worlds. They destroyed our home planet 5 years ago. Since then, we have been searching for allies, for anyone strong enough to stand with us." Taewon felt a chill. "And you think humans are strong enough?" Nara looked up at him and her amber eyes caught the light. "Your people surprised us. We have watched you fight among yourselves. You are young as a species and your technology is basic, but you have something we lost long ago." "What is that?" "The will to never give up. The ability to adapt, to think in ways that are unpredictable." She smiled slightly. "We call it creative chaos. The Scourge can adapt to any logical attack, but humans do not always follow logic. You follow passion, emotion. That makes you dangerous in ways the Scourge cannot predict." Before Taewon could respond, the door exploded inward. A man in Earth military uniform stood there with a weapon. It was Captain Byung-ho, someone Taewon recognized from the Defense Force. "Get away from the alien, Commander," Byung-ho said. His weapon was pointed at Nara. "She is poisoning your mind." Byung-ho, lower your weapon, Taewon ordered, standing up. That is an order. I cannot follow that order, sir. These aliens will destroy us. They will make us slaves. I heard them planning it. Byung-ho's hands shook. I will not let humanity die. You heard wrong, Taewon said. Put the weapon down and we can talk. No, Byung-ho shouted. His finger moved toward the trigger. Taewon reacted without thinking. He threw himself in front of Nara just as Byung-ho fired. The shot burned past his shoulder, missing by inches. Ji-ho tackled Byung-ho from the side, and they crashed to the ground fighting for the weapon. Nara caught Taewon as he stumbled. Her hands were surprisingly strong. You protected me, she said, her voice full of wonder. Why? Because it was the right thing to do, Taewon said. But even as he said it, he knew it was more than that. He had not just protected a diplomat. He had protected her. Ji-ho managed to restrain Byung-ho. The Velrathi guards helped tie him up. The captain kept shouting about aliens and betrayal until they had to gag him. We need to get back to the main station, Taewon said. Security needs to know about this. They made their way through more tunnels until they finally reached a secure area. Earth security forces were everywhere, searching for the attackers. When they saw Taewon and the Queen together, weapons were raised. Stand down, Admiral Sungmin's voice called out. The old admiral walked through the crowd. Commander Taewon, report. Taewon explained everything while medics checked everyone for injuries. Byung-ho was taken into custody. The admiral listened carefully, his expression showing nothing. And you believe the Queen's story? About this scourge? Sungmin asked. I do, sir, Taewon said. I think we need to hear her out completely. Sungmin looked at Nara. She stood tall even though she must have been exhausted. Your Majesty, we have a xenobiologist named Dr. Minji. She would like to examine your technology and verify your claims. Would you agree to this? I will show her everything, Nara said. We have nothing to hide. Over the next several hours, Dr. Minji worked with Velrathi scientists. Taewon was supposed to rest, but he found himself walking to the lab where Nara was waiting. She stood by a window looking at Earth. It is beautiful, she said without turning around. Your planet, so blue and alive. Our home, Taewon said, walking to stand beside her. The only one we have. I remember when we had a home, Nara said softly. Before the scourge came, our planet had 3 moons and purple oceans. My mother was queen then. She was strong and wise. Her voice broke slightly. She died fighting to give us time to escape. Taewon wanted to reach out and comfort her, but was not sure if he should. I lost my family too. A mining accident in the asteroid belt. My wife and daughter were visiting me at work when it happened. Nara turned to look at him. I am sorry. So am I, Taewon said. That is why I fight. To protect others from losing what I lost. They stood in silence for a while. Then Nara did something unexpected. She reached out and took his hand. Her skin was warm despite its silver color. In my culture, a queen cannot show weakness, she said. We must always be strong. Always alone. But right now I do not want to be alone. Taewon squeezed her hand gently. You are not alone. Dr. Minji's voice interrupted them over the intercom. Commander Admiral, please come to the lab. I have confirmed the Queen's story. And there is more bad news. They rushed to the lab. Dr. Minji looked pale as she showed them data on multiple screens. The scourge is real, she said. And according to Velrathi long-range sensors, they are already on their way here. They followed the Velrathi fleet to Earth. How long do we have? Admiral Sungmin asked. Dr. Minji swallowed hard. 3 days. Maybe 4. The room went silent. Earth had 3 days to prepare for an enemy that destroyed entire civilizations. Taewon looked at Nara. Her face was determined despite the fear in her eyes. Then we fight together, Taewon said. Together, Nara agreed. 3 days was not enough time. Taewon knew it. Admiral Sungmin knew it. Everyone knew it. But they worked anyway because giving up was not an option. The Indomitable was ready for battle. So were 50 other Earth ships. It was humanity's entire military fleet. Against them would come the Scourge, an enemy that had destroyed dozens of alien civilizations. Taewon stood on the bridge, watching the combined fleet form up. Earth ships flew alongside Velrathi vessels. It was strange to see. Just a week ago, humans and Velrathi were strangers. Now they were fighting together. All ships report ready, Lieutenant Hana said. She had barely slept in 3 days, but her voice was steady. Good, Taewon said. He opened a channel to the entire fleet. "This is Commander Taewan. I know many of you are scared. I am scared too. The enemy we face has destroyed worlds, but they have never faced humanity. They have never faced people who refuse to quit. Today we show them what Earth is made of. Today we fight not just for survival, but for our right to exist. All ships, battle positions." The fleet moved into formation. Taewan looked at the secondary screen. It showed Queen Nara on her flagship, the Eternal Dawn. She wore her armor again, but Taewan had made her promise to keep her helmet nearby, not on. He wanted to see her face during the battle. "Ready?" he asked her over the private channel. "As ready as we can be," Nara said. Her eyes showed worry. "Taewan, if we do not survive this, we will survive," he interrupted. "We have to. But if we do not, I want you to know." She paused, struggling with words. "Meeting you changed everything for me. You made me remember what it feels like to hope." Taewan felt his chest tighten. "Nara, Alarms cut him off." Every screen turned red. "They are here," Ensign Dae-hyun announced from the pilot station. He was young, and this was his first real battle. His hands shook, but he held his position. Space itself seemed to tear open. Dark portals appeared, and ships came through. No, they were not ships. They were nightmares. The scourge vessels looked like they were made of metal and flesh mixed together. They were organic and mechanical at the same time. Parts of them moved and breathed. They were huge, some bigger than Earth's largest buildings. "Count?" Taewan asked, though he almost did not want to know. "Over 100 enemy ships," Hana said quietly. "They outnumber us 2-1. The scourge ships moved forward like a swarm. They did not fly in formation. They just came in a wave of darkness. "All ships, open fire," Taewan ordered. The battle began. Missiles and energy beams filled space. Earth's railguns fired metal slugs at incredible speeds. Velrathi ships used their plasma weapons, which burned like small stars. The scourge ships responded with weapons that seemed alive, tentacles of energy that reached out and grabbed at smaller ships. "Incoming," someone shouted. The Indomitable shook as enemy fire hit the shields. Sparks flew from control panels. The lights flickered. "Shields at 60%, Engineer Sora reported from her station. She was the best engineer in the fleet, and she was working like crazy to keep the ship together." Taewan watched as pilot Jinwoo led a squadron of fighters against a scourge capital ship. Jinwoo was the best pilot Taewan had ever seen. He flew his fighter like it was part of his body, dodging enemy fire and striking at weak points. But the scourge ships were learning. Taewan saw it happen in real time. After the first few attacks, the enemy ships started adapting. They changed their armor to resist human weapons. They predicted Velrathi attack patterns. "They are evolving," Dr. Minji said over the command channel. She was monitoring the battle from Earth. "Every attack teaches them. They are like a machine that learns." "Then we need to stop being predictable," Taewan said. An idea formed in his mind. "All ships switch to random attack patterns. Do not follow the battle plan. Pilots, be creative. Do anything unexpected." "Sir, that will create chaos," General Tae-young objected. He was commanding from Earth Defense Command. "Exactly," Taewan said. "Chaos is what humans do best." He was right. When the human ships stopped following standard military tactics and started improvising, the scourge had trouble adapting. One pilot flew backwards while shooting. Another pretended to be damaged, then ambushed an enemy ship. Jinwoo actually crashed his fighter into a scourge ship's weapon port, destroying it from inside before ejecting to safety. The Velrathi forces watched in amazement. Then they started copying the human creativity. Soon the entire fleet was fighting in ways that made no logical sense. And it was working, but the scourge had numbers. For every enemy ship destroyed, 2 more took its place. Casualties mounted. Taewan watched good ships die. Good people die. "Commander, the Eternal Dawn is in trouble," Hana shouted. Taewan's blood went cold. On the screen, he saw 3 scourge ships surrounding Nara's flagship. They were hitting it with everything they had. The Eternal Dawn's shields were failing. "All ships protect the Eternal Dawn," Taewan ordered. But he knew they were too far away. By the time help arrived, Nara's ship would be destroyed. Taewan made a decision. Maybe it was stupid. Maybe it would cost Earth the battle. But he could not let her die. "Dae-hyun, full speed toward the Eternal Dawn," he commanded. "Jiho, divert all power from weapons to shields." "Sora, I need everything you have got." "Sir, we will not have any weapons," Jiho protested. We do not need weapons. We just need to be a shield. The Indomitable turned and accelerated. They reached the Eternal Dawn just as a massive energy blast from a Scourge ship was about to hit it. The Indomitable moved between them, taking the hit directly. The explosion was enormous. The ship's shield shattered instantly. The blast tore through the hull. Half the bridge exploded. Taewon was thrown from his chair. He tasted blood. The emergency lights came on, but many systems were dead. Hull breach on decks 5 through 12, Sora reported. Her voice was weak. Main power is gone. Life support failing. Taewon pulled himself up. His left arm was badly hurt, maybe broken. Get everyone to the escape pods. Abandon ship. Sir, you need to evacuate too, Hana said. I will, Taewon lied. I just need to make sure everyone gets out first. The crew started evacuating. Taewon stayed on the bridge, making sure the escape pods launched safely. Through the broken windows, he could see the Eternal Dawn was safe. His sacrifice had worked. He tried to stand, but his legs would not support him. There was too much pain, too much damage. He realized he had been hurt worse than he thought. Blood was everywhere. I am sorry, Nara, he whispered. Looks like I will not keep my promise after all. The bridge door exploded open. Through the smoke, a figure in armor ran in. It was Nara herself, not wearing her helmet. Her face was desperate. You fool, she shouted, kneeling beside him. You beautiful, stupid fool. Why did you do that? Had to protect you, Taewon said, his vision getting blurry. Could not let you die. And I cannot let you die, Nara said. She picked him up like he weighed nothing. Her strength was incredible. My guards are clearing a path to my ship. You are coming with me. The battle can wait, Nara said fiercely. You saved my people. Now I save you. She carried him through the destroyed corridors of the Indomitable. Behind them, the ship was breaking apart. But Taewon felt safe in her arms. He looked at her face, and even through his pain, he thought she was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. I think I love you, he said, not sure if he was delirious or just finally being honest. Nara looked down at him. Tears ran down her silver cheeks. I know I love you. Then everything went dark. Taewon woke up in pain. Every part of his body hurt. He tried to move but found medical equipment attached to him. Tubes and wires connected him to machines that beeped softly. The room was unfamiliar. The walls were made of a material that glowed faintly with purple light. You are awake, a voice said. Taewon turned his head. Nara sat in a chair beside his bed. She was not wearing her armor. Instead, she wore simple clothing that looked comfortable. Her hair was loose around her shoulders, the glowing strands making soft patterns in the dim light. Where am I? Taewon asked. His throat was dry. My ship, the medical bay. Nara stood and poured water into a cup. She helped him drink. You have been unconscious for 2 days. 2 days? Taewon tried to sit up, but pain shot through his chest. The battle? Still happening, Nara said. She gently pushed him back down. But we are holding. Your idea about chaotic tactics is working. The Scourge cannot adapt fast enough. My crew? Most survived. Lieutenant Hana is commanding from a smaller ship. Jiho is helping coordinate defenses. Sora is repairing damaged vessels. Nara's expression became sad, but we lost many others. Good people. Taewon closed his eyes. The cost of war was always too high. You should not have saved me, Nara said quietly. You almost died. Your people need you. My people need hope more than they need me, Taewon said. If Earth's commander would not protect an ally, what hope would anyone have? Is that the only reason? Nara asked. She was looking at him intensely. Taewon met her gaze. No. I saved you because the thought of losing you was worse than the thought of dying. Nara's amber eyes became wet with tears. My advisors tell me I am being foolish, that a queen cannot care for an individual more than her people. But I do care. I care so much it scares me. I am scared too, Taewon admitted. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Nara leaned down and kissed him gently on the forehead. Rest now. When you are stronger, we will talk more. But there was no time for rest. An alarm sounded throughout the ship. Nara stood quickly, her face changing from gentle to commanding in an instant. What is it? Taewon asked. The Scourge is making a major push, Nara said. She touched a control panel and a screen appeared in the air. It showed the battle. The Scourge ships were forming up into a massive spear formation, all pointing toward Earth itself. They are going to try to break through our line and attack your planet directly. I need to get to the bridge, Taewon said, pulling off his medical attachments. Pain flared, but he ignored it. You cannot fight, Nara protested. You are still injured. I can still give orders, Taewon said. He stood up, wobbling slightly. And my people need to see that I am alive. Nara wanted to argue, but she saw the determination in his eyes. She nodded and helped him walk. Together they went to the Bridge of the Eternal Dawn. The bridge was organized chaos. Velrathi officers worked at their stations while human liaisons coordinated with Earth forces. When Taewon entered, everyone stopped and stared. Commander on the bridge, someone announced. Taewon straightened up, trying not to show pain. Status report. Lieutenant Hana appeared on the main screen from her ship. Her face lit up when she saw him. Sir, you are alive. The fleet will be so relieved. Later, Taewon said. Tell me about the Scourge formation. Dr. Minji's voice came over the speakers from Earth. Commander, the Scourge ships are combining their energy. They are going to hit our defensive line with everything at once. If they break through, Earth is defenseless. Taewon studied the tactical display. The Scourge formation was perfect. Too perfect. They had learned from all the previous chaos and were now using order against them. We need a new plan. General Tae-young said. Something they will not expect. An idea came to Taewon. It was crazy. It might not work. But it was the kind of crazy that the Scourge would not predict. What if we do not try to stop them? He said. Everyone looked at him like he was insane. Explain, Nara said calmly. They expect us to defend, to form a line and try to hold. But what if we let them through? Taewon pointed at the display. We split our fleet. Half goes around them. While they are pushing toward Earth, we hit their command ships from behind, cut off their coordination. That would leave Earth exposed, Admiral Sungmin objected. Not if we time it right, Taewon said. We have those antimatter mines that Engineer Sora has been working on. We plant them in space between the Scourge and Earth. Remote detonation. When the Scourge fleet passes the mines, we blow them. The explosion will stop their momentum long enough for us to destroy their command ships. It was silent as everyone considered the plan. It was risky. If the timing was wrong, the Scourge would reach Earth, but if it worked, they could win. I like it, Jinwoo's voice came over the comms. The pilot was out in his fighter. It is unpredictable. Exactly what we need, I agree, Nara said. She looked at Taewon with respect. We will do it. The plan was set into motion. Sora worked with Velrathi engineers to prepare the antimatter mines. They were dangerous, unstable, but powerful. 50 mines were placed in a pattern that the Scourge would fly right through. The fleet split as planned. Half stayed visible, retreating slowly as if they were losing. The other half moved silently around the enemy's flanks using every stealth technique they had. The Scourge took the bait. Their massive formation accelerated toward Earth, seeing the defensive line breaking. They thought they were winning. Taewon watched from the Eternal Dawn's bridge. His hands gripped the command console. Everything depended on timing. They are passing the minefield now, Hana reported. Wait, Taewon said. Wait for all of them to enter. The tension was unbearable. If they detonated too early, some Scourge ships would escape. Too late, and the ships would be too close to Earth. Now, Taewon ordered. Sora pressed the detonation button. Space lit up with 50 small suns. The antimatter mines exploded simultaneously. The blast was so bright it could be seen from Earth's surface. When the light faded, the Scourge formation was in chaos. Ships were damaged, their perfect order broken. All ships attack, Nara commanded. The hidden half of the fleet appeared behind the Scourge command ships. Human and Velrathi vessels attacked together in a coordinated strike. Missiles, plasma beams, railgun slugs all hit the command ships at once. But victory came at a cost. The Scourge fought back desperately. More ships were destroyed on both sides. Taewon watched as pilot Jinwoo made a suicide run on the largest Scourge command ship. Jinwoo, no, Taewon shouted into the comm. Tell my story, Commander, Jinwoo said calmly. Make sure people remember we fought well. Jinwoo's fighter, already damaged and with no weapons left, crashed directly into the Scourge ship's bridge. The explosion was massive. The command ship broke apart, taking dozens of Scourge vessels with it as their coordination failed. Taewon felt tears on his face. Jinwoo had been young, brave, and now he was gone, but his sacrifice worked. The Scourge fleet fell into complete disorder. Without their command ships, the individual vessels did not know how to adapt. They became easy targets. Finish them, Nara said quietly. The battle raged for another hour, but the outcome was decided. The Scourge were defeated, The remaining enemy ships retreated back through their dark portals and disappeared. Earth was saved, but the price was high. A third of the combined fleet was destroyed. Thousands were dead. Taewon sat down heavily in the command chair. Nara stood beside him, placing her hand on his shoulder. "We won," she said. "Yes," Taewon agreed, "but it does not feel like victory." "It never does," Nara said softly. The weeks after the battle were difficult. Earth celebrated their survival, but they also mourned their losses. Memorial services were held for the fallen. Names were carved into monuments. Pilot Jinwoo became a hero, his story told everywhere. Taewon stood at one of these memorials, his arm still in a cast. He read the names of his crew members who did not make it. Each name was a person he knew. Each one hurt. "You should rest," Nara said, appearing beside him. She had started walking around Earth without her helmet now. At first people stared, but soon they accepted her. Some even smiled at her. "I will rest when this is done," Taewon said. "It will never be done," Nara said gently. "There will always be more names to remember, more people to honor, but you must also live." Taewon knew she was right. He let her lead him away from the memorial. They walked through a park in the city. It was strange to see Earth and Velrathi people together. Children played while Velrathi soldiers taught them games from their world. Human engineers worked with Velrathi technicians to repair damaged buildings. "Our people are learning to live together," Nara observed. "Some people are not happy about it," Taewon said. He knew there were protests. Some humans did not trust the Velrathi. Some Velrathi thought their queen was forgetting her duties. "I know," Nara said. "My own council has been talking. They say I spend too much time with you, that I am neglecting my role as queen." Taewon stopped walking. "What do you tell them?" "I tell them I am doing exactly what a queen should do. Building a future for my people." She looked at him. "But they are not entirely wrong. I do spend a lot of time thinking about you." "Is that a problem?" Taewon asked. Nara hesitated. "In my culture, queens do not marry for love. They marry for alliances, for political power. Love is seen as a weakness that clouds judgment." "Do you think love makes you weak?" Taewon asked. "No," Nara said firmly. "I think love made me stronger. It made me fight harder, care more, but my people do not see it that way." Before Taewon could respond, his communicator beeped. It was Admiral Sungmin requesting an immediate meeting. Nara received a similar call from her High Counselor Yuna. They went to the command center where both human and Velrathi leaders were gathered. The atmosphere was tense. "Commander Taewon, Queen Nara, we need to discuss the future," Admiral Sungmin began. "The Scourge is defeated, but that raises questions. What happens now? Do the Velrathi stay? Do they leave?" High Counselor Yuna spoke next. She was an interesting figure, having both human and Velrathi features. "There are concerns among both our peoples. Some humans fear we will try to take control. Some Velrathi fear we will lose our identity if we integrate too much. And there is another matter," General Tae-young added, looking uncomfortable. "The relationship between Commander Taewon and Queen Nara. It is becoming very public. Some people are worried about what it means." Taewon felt anger rising. "What we feel for each other is not a political problem to be solved." "But it is political," Counselor Yuna said, not unkindly. "Everything a queen does is political. Everything a commander does is watched. You cannot separate your personal feelings from your public roles." Nara stood up. Her presence commanded attention. "Then perhaps it is time to change what those roles mean. For too long, my people have believed that leaders must stand alone, that showing emotion is weakness. But I have learned from humans that the opposite is true. Connection is strength." "Your Majesty," Counselor Yuna said carefully, "the Velrathi High Council has sent word. If you wish to continue your relationship with the commander, you must step down from the throne." The room went silent. Taewon felt his heart sink. He looked at Nara, who had gone very still. "They are asking me to choose," Nara said quietly. "My people or my heart." Admiral Sungmin spoke up. "Similarly, Commander, there are voices in our government saying you are too close to the Velrathi, that you cannot lead objectively anymore. Some are calling for your resignation." Taewon laughed bitterly. "So we both must give up who we are to please people who were not there, who did not fight beside us, who did not see what we saw." "What did you see?" Dr. Minji asked. She had been quiet until now. Taewon looked at Nara. "I saw that we are stronger together than apart. That two species can become one people if they choose to. Nara nodded. I saw humans sacrifice themselves for Velrathi. I saw Velrathi do the same for humans. We bled together. That means something. Then maybe, Lieutenant Hana said, speaking up for the first time, we need a new kind of leadership. Not human, not Velrathi, but both. Counselor Yuna looked interested. What are you suggesting? An idea formed in Taewan's mind. It was bold. Maybe too bold, but after everything they had been through, why not be bold? A union, he said. Not just between Nara and me, but between our peoples. A true alliance. One government. Shared technology. Shared worlds. And who would lead this government? General Tae-young asked skeptically. Both of us, Nara said, understanding immediately. Not a queen, not a commander. But partners, equals. The room erupted in discussion. Some people loved the idea. Others thought it was impossible. The debate went on for hours. Finally, Admiral Sungmin raised his hand for silence. This decision is too big for this room. It must go to both our peoples. Let them vote. Let them decide if they want this union. Over the next month, the vote was prepared. Daewon and Nara traveled to different cities, both on Earth and on Velrathi colony ships. They spoke to people, listened to concerns, shared their vision. It was not easy. There were protests. There were debates. Some people were angry, but many were hopeful. The night before the vote, Taewon and Nara stood together on a balcony overlooking Earth's largest city. Lights stretched to the horizon. Above, Velrathi ships floated peacefully. Are you scared? Nara asked. Terrified, Taewon admitted. What if they say no? What if we have to choose? Then we choose each other, Nara said firmly. I would give up my throne for you. And I would give up my command for you, Taewon said. But I hope we do not have to. Nara took his hand. Whatever happens, we face it together. The next day, the votes were counted. Taewon and Nara waited in a room with their closest friends and advisors. Hana was there. Jiho, Dr. Minji, Counselor Yuna. All of them nervous. Finally, the results came in. 73% approval from humans. Admiral Sungmin announced. 68% from Velrathi. They had won. The people had chosen unity. Taewon and Nara looked at each other and laughed with relief. Then they embraced while their friends cheered. The wedding ceremony was held 3 months later. It was a mixture of human and Velrathi traditions. Thousands attended in person. Millions watched from around the world and on Velrathi ships. Nara wore a dress that combined both cultures. It flowed like water and glowed like starlight. When she walked down the aisle, Taewon felt his breath stop just like the first time he saw her face. They exchanged vows in both languages. Promised to stand together, to lead together, to love together. When it was time, Nara removed her ceremonial helmet one last time. The crowd went silent. Then erupted in cheers. Taewon took her face in his hands and kissed her. In that moment, everything was perfect. Years later, they would face new challenges. Building a unified government was not easy. There were setbacks, arguments, compromises, but they never gave up. Taewon and Nara had 3 children. They were the first human Velrathi hybrids, proof that the two species could become one. The scourge never returned. The combined might of humans and Velrathi kept them away. Sometimes, late at night, Taewon would watch Nara sleep. Her silver skin would glow softly in the darkness. Her hair would shimmer with its own light. And he would remember that moment when she first took off her helmet. His heart had stopped because he knew somehow that his life would never be the same. He had been right. It was better.